Week 1 games are in the books. The weekend is over. We got Monday Night Football tonight, but I am talking and breaking down everything that happened on Sunday for fantasy football. The studs, the sucks. What happened to Aaron Rodgers, Devonta Adams? Why did Derrick Henry crap the bed? Kareem Hunt hoarded a touchdown from Nick Chubb when people needed it the most. Najee Harris underperformed. My Adam Thielen outperformed Justin Jefferson. We are diving into everything, all the major highlights, the highs and lows from Sunday's games, guys. I'm over the moon excited. Fantasy football is back, and it was a crazy first week, but do not panic, guys. It is week 1. You know, the stars will align again. Things will come back to normal. There was a crazy weekend. We're going to dive into all of that, guys. And it's a good thing that teams are actually back on the gridiron. Lucky for us, it is week 1, and we get to draft every single week, okay? So download the DraftKings app. Use promo code FFLION. They are the official daily fantasy sports partner of the NFL. And here's the cool thing, guys. New customers get a chance and a free shot at $1 million in total prizes with their first deposit. Just make sure you use that promo code FFLION and get into the action now. It's simple. Just pick your lineup, stay under the salary cap, and see how your team stacks up against the competition. I'm telling you guys, I'm hooked on drafting every week. And so many people DM me, I'm upset. I want to draft every week. I want to draft. Year long, you deal with injuries. You deal with one draft, 1 or 2 drafts. Then the excitement's over. I mean, that is the main part of drafting, is the fact that you get to draft. I mean, that's what makes fantasy so much fun, is the drafting aspect. And you get to do that every single week on DraftKings. So go to right now, download the DraftKings app, use promo code FFLION right now. Get into the game weekly. And I do a DFS show every Wednesday, so you get to watch as I go over some of the optimal matchups for you to help you guys get the advantage. Download the DraftKings app right now. Use promo code FFLION and get into the game. Now, let's get to that recap. Manscaped.com, guys. I'm welcoming you to the show as I am shaving the bottom of my neck here because there's some extra hair. And look, skin safe technology. The neck area is super sensitive. I've got a navigational light. I got the skin safe technology. Manscaped.com. Go treat yourself to amazing trimmers and amazing products to keep you guys fresh and groomed. I love their underwear. I keep talking and bragging about it. My balls are super comfortable in them. Manscaped.com. Save yourself 20% by using promo code SHOWERLION. Go do that right now. All right, let's dive into the show. Oh my goodness, man. I mean, it was absolutely crazy this weekend. I mean, some of my players didn't do well. I will admit that, and it's pretty obvious. And that's where, I stray away from the sheep. So the sheep have no liability. They have no ownership. So what they did is they gave you their consensus rankings, and that's it. Like, they're not saying, like, for example, I'll give you an example, okay? I don't even know where Devonta Adams finished, but it's definitely not in the top 10. It's definitely not in the top 20. Where did Adams finish? He finished 48th amongst wide receivers in PPR in week 1. Okay, just let me talk to you about this. And nobody is calling the mainstream analysts. Nobody is calling up the magazine they bought and saying, hey, you know what? Adams underperformed. Why, and no one's giving them shit, right? Why? Because they play it safe. That was the consensus pick. But a guy like me who said Najee first round, I'm okay with him still, by the way. I'm the one who said Najee first round, and he had a bad first game. But the Steelers didn't get going till the second half, and it was a rough game, and I get it, okay? But he was a rookie. It was his first game, and they're starting to get into the groove. But here's the cool thing. He was out on every snap, so he's going to get the volume, so I'm not concerned. It was week 1. He's a rookie. Give him a break. But my DM's blowing up. Oh, you told me Najee. You told me Najee. Najee sucked. Najee. Guys, it was week 1. I don't care if I lost first week. I lost the first week. I lost by, actually, one of them I'm still in. I'm down by 5 points. I got Josh Jacobs. In one league, I lost a week. The other one, I got Josh Jacobs. I need like 5 points. If Josh Jacobs gets 5 points, I'm only in like 2 big money leagues, and that's it. And I play daily fantasy. By the way, if you guys aren't into daily fantasy, DraftKings app, go download it. Use promo code FFLION. Guys, get into the game. Draft every week. So yeah, I lost one and I won one. I'm be transparent. Well, it depends. I think Josh Jacobs might sit. If that's the case, I have to substitute him. I got to find out who I got to put in. Anyway, besides the point I'm trying to make here is these guys don't have accountability. Adams sucked. I told you Adams would decline. And it looks like Aaron Rodgers was not there yesterday. Again, it's 1 week, so I can't judge. but I will tell you things change, okay? So let's talk about it, okay? It was a crazy week, and I want to start off with quarterbacks. I want to move along here and just talk about the highs and lows, the studs and sucks, the recap, what we learned. This is the main focus of this episode is what we learned in week one, because a lot of things were unveiled. Who's who kind of started showing up, and it's very interesting. And I'll tell you where I went right, and I'll tell you kind of where I went wrong based on week one. And again, things are going to change. Remember, guys, this is a marathon. This is not a sprint, guys. This is a marathon. Things will change. Things will adjust. Things will get better. Things will get worse. This is a marathon, okay, guys? So let's talk about it. So first one I want to talk about is the quarterbacks. I mean, Kyler Murray was a top scorer here. And again, we're excluding the Monday night game because I do this Monday morning, okay? Kyler Murray absolutely crushed it. 4 touchdowns, 1 interception. But again, a lot of these guys that played had a lot really good matchups. And again, everyone's so hyped up about Jalen Hurts. Yes, Jalen Hurts looked really good. He did. And I've got by the way, I've got jerseys to give away. I have compliments of pristine auction, and Devontae Smith is one of those jerseys. DM me on Instagram, by the way, at Fantasy Football Counselor Win. I'll send you a code to enter, okay? Draw is on Thursday. So, yeah, Jalen Hurts looked really good. Some of the other guys look good. Kyler Murray, Pat Mahomes, Jameis Winston, like I said, 5 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Looked absolutely phenomenal. Jared Goff looked pretty good. Dak Prescott, Tom Brady, Russell Wilson, consistent as they come. Matt Stafford looking good, finally on an offense where he could really gel. And Tyrod Taylor, I told you he'd have a good matchup as well. He had a pretty easy matchup as well. So looking at this, and I'm looking at the matchups, I'm going to pull up the scores as well here. I mean, some surprises. Like I said, Josh Allen finishing 19th amongst quarterbacks. Terrible performance with 17 points. Who else had a bad game here? Justin Herbert had a mediocre game, 12 points here, 13.38 points. Baker Mayfield, Matt Ryan, absolutely abysmal. And I take credit for it. I thought I had him as a backup. I started Herbert, but Matt Ryan, absolutely terrible week one. 6 points for the Falcons, which hurts Calvin Ridley's a consensus second-round pick. I mean, it was just terrible. Aaron Rodgers having a terrible game, throwing 2 interceptions, no touchdowns for 1.32 points. I mean, that's a scary sign if that continues if you're a Devonte Adams owner. But again, I wouldn't stress it. It is week one. But it just makes you concerned. You can see his physiology when Aaron Rodgers is not trying. He's on the bench, smiling, like chilling. I don't think he even cares. I think the guy just wants to get traded. So I'd warn you about Aaron Rodgers. I'd warned you about Devonte Adams' first-round pick. Again, week one, we can't say much. Trevor Lawrence having 19 points week one, 3 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. I guess he's got the first game jitters. Daniel Jones, 21.38 points. Looked okay. But again, a bit of a mess of a first week. Carson Wentz finishing 17th amongst quarterbacks. Zach Wilson, 18th. Again, beating Josh Allen. Ryan Tannehill had a bad game as well. 1 touchdown, 1 interception. So Tannehill underperforming, Matt Ryan underperforming, Aaron Rodgers underperforming, Josh Allen underperforming. It was a bit of a mess at quarterback, but I really feel that things are going to adjust themselves. And again, Kyler Murray, Pat Mahomes, Jameis Winston, Dak Prescott, all these guys could stay on top every single week. But Tyrod Taylor, is he going to stay in the mix? Who knows, right? I think he get banged up or get hit up a little bit. Again, week one, guys, you need to relax. We need to talk about this. You need to still start your starters, guys. Feel confident in the team that you drafted, okay? Things are going to change. Again, Trevor Lawrence's first game. Now, you shouldn't have been starting Trevor Lawrence, but again, it's week one. He's a good backup with upside, but it is week one, so you need to take a chill. So, the highs, guys, Kyler Murray, Pat Mahomes, the studs. Jameis Winston, Jalen Hurts, some of the duds. Again, when you're looking at Aaron Rodgers, Ryan Fitzmagic, he was the one that got banged up, I believe. Ryan Fitzmagic, Aaron Jones, guys like that had a bad week. Who else? Big Ben had a bad week. Baker Mayfield, Justin Herbert had a mediocre week. So Aaron Rodgers is the bust and the bust of the week pretty much for the quarterback position. And there's probably more, but let me just see if there's anyone lower that I missed. I mean, Andy Dalton's, sucked. He shouldn't be starting as well. So that's quarterbacks. Again, things are going to change. Let's move on to the running backs. Major disaster here, guys. Okay. Where do we start? Christian McCaffrey having a good week as advertised. I suggested him in the 16 rounds. I personally didn't draft him. It is okay. It is week one. He crushed it if you don't have him. Joe Mixon having the game of his life. Okay. 25 points. I mean, 1 touchdown. He got it done in the receiving game with 4 receptions, 23 yards. And where he got it really done is the attempts and yards, 127 yards, okay? So Joe Mixon having a solid game. And is that going to continue? They did have an easy matchup. And I want to explain this to you. They did have an easy matchup. And at the end of the day, Minnesota's rush defense absolutely crapped the bed. And I don't know if you guys saw it, not that it really matters for fantasy, but Dalvin Cook coughed up the ball, fumbled, and cost the Minnesota Vikings the game in overtime. They lost 27-24 to the Bengals at home. Again, Bengals having an easy matchup defensively. Minnesota didn't look that good at all. And on paper, you knew that they were going to have a good game. So Dalvin Cook, not a big fan of him, coughed up the game in overtime. It is what it is. Jamal Williams having a good game. I started him in DFS. 54 yards. Where he got it done, guys, is in the receiving game. 8 receptions, 56 yards, and he had that touchdown on the ground. Jamal Williams, Detroit's running game looking solid week 1. I mean, I didn't anticipate it. I don't think a lot of people anticipated it. Detroit having that good of a game on the ground, losing though 41-33 to the Detroit Lions. To the 49ers. But nobody expected that type of rushing game out of both DeAndre Swift and Jamal Williams. DeAndre Swift finishing 4th amongst running backs, which was absolutely crazy. 24.4 points PPR. Pretty crazy. Now, Nick Chubb, I understand he finished 5, but I don't want Nick Chubb on my team because Kareem Hunt hoarded it away a touchdown. And I know you're saying, well, Joe, he still finished 5th, but Kareem Hunt finished 12th, stealing, listen to this, 6 attempts for 33 yards and a touchdown, stealing 3 receptions for 26 yards, and accumulating 17 points. Those 17 points, if Nick Chubb was a workhorse running back, would have gone to Nick Chubb. Now, what you're saying, well, Joe, he outperformed Najee Harris, but Najee Harris doesn't have Kareem Hunt to contend with, and he's going to get the volume. And the debate is, well, Joe, what good is volume if you have a bad O-line? Guys, it will adjust. It was a bad week 1. Najee Harris was playing the Buffalo Bills. Nick Chubb, on the other hand, had an easy matchup. I don't know what to tell you guys. Chiefs rush defense didn't do that well. It worked out for them. They put up 29 points on the board against the Chiefs and almost won that game. Chiefs won 33-29, but it was due to that big pass by Pat Mahomes to Tyreek Hill that got the spark going again, okay? So, again, Nick Chubb, yes, finished 5th. Good. Congrats. If you got him, enjoy it. But, Kareem Hunt stole those points, and that bothers me. I don't care. I'd rather lose knowing that my running back comes out for every snap and doesn't have competition than win 1 week and have that split workload, okay? Melvin Gordon busted off for a run. Not good for Devonta Williams. Melvin Gordon on a mission to keep his job. It is what it is. He had 20 points. Hope he enjoys it. That won't really happen again either. I just don't see it. Melvin Gordon, again, breaking up for that run, and that's what inflated his numbers. I don't know how long that run was. It was a long one. I don't know how many yards. I don't have it in front of me here, guys. But he had 101 yards on the ground, 1 touchdown, okay? Dalvin Cook having a good, safe game. Again, he had the 1 touchdown, 60 yards, averaged 3 yards per carry. Nothing to get excited about. David Montgomery, I actually fell asleep. I was so busy watching the other games. I fell asleep near the end of the game. But apparently David Montgomery went off with an injury, came back in. But David Montgomery showing he is really good. I mean, the guy looked really strong. I'm really confident David Montgomery this year. Hopefully Nagy keeps him going. But I saw Damian Williams out there for a couple plays, not liking it. David Montgomery should be the guy, should be on the field more. 16 attempts, that should easily be over 20. 108 yards, 6.8 yards per carry. Montgomery finishing 8th amongst running backs. Alvin Kamara and Jonathan Taylor rounding up the top 10. And Jonathan Taylor looked really good. I know he averaged 3.3 yards per carry, but he had a couple good runs there, 56 yards, looking solid. Miles Sanders finishing 11th, Kareem Hunt. Elijah Mitchell from San Fran doing well. And Raheem Mostert, man, I don't know. All you guys saying, well, I want to draft Raheem Mostert. I'm like, the guy is the most injury-prone player next to Dalvin Cook. He's done. I think he's done for the season. I don't even know how far. I just heard he was out. I think it was his knee or something like that. Raheem Mostert. So we're going to be talking waiver wires tomorrow, but Elijah Mitchell, man, finishing 13th, someone to consider there. I think he's available in most leagues. 104 yards, 5.5 yards per carry, and a touchdown. Daryl Henderson getting the attempt, 16. I don't know what happened to Sony Michel there. Seems like they're running Daryl Henderson. He had 15.7 points. Chase Edmonds had 12 attempts. Nothing to get excited about, but had a good game. Mark Ingram inflated, finishing 16th amongst running backs, but again, inflated by a touchdown. Now, understand some of these guys are just inflated, simply predicated on the touchdowns. One of my arch nemesis here, Austin Eckler had only 11 points, played the full game, 15 attempts, 57 yards, 3.8 yards per carry. Nothing to get excited about. Antonio Gibson finishing 22nd, guys. A lot of people were excited about him. I wasn't. Again, it is week 1. We're going to have to see. Derrick Henry, like I said, had a terrible game, 58 yards on the ground, 3.4 yards per carry. But the Titans had a bad game in general, just couldn't get the groove going. Very unfortunate. James Robinson, only 5 attempts. And I'm telling you, I'm convinced that he slept with one of the coaches or owners' wives because I don't get it. I do not get James Robinson. Actually, I gotta put this on story mode here as we're recording here. I got to tell the Instagrammers here. What's up, Instagram story? I'm on YouTube right here. I'm actually filming a video for the podcast, and I got to mention this. It's a highlight of the video. I'm convinced that James Robinson must have slept with one of the owners and coaches' wives because it doesn't make sense to me. James Robinson, 5 attempts, 25 yards, 5 yards per carry. They put in Hyde. Hyde had more attempts. This is a guy that was the number 1 player on the Jacksonville Jaguars last year, and they're not giving him volume. Now, I understand the Jacksonville Jaguars had a bad game altogether. We had Trevor Jitters and all that stuff, Trevor Lawrence. But James Robinson needs to be fed the ball, and Carlos Hyde I didn't even know he was in the NFL. Carlos Hyde has been washed up 5-10 years ago. He has no business starting over the young, talented James Robinson. They got to give him more volume. There you go, Instagram. Make sure you guys swipe up and subscribe, or, link in the bio and subscribe and watch this video because I'm going to dive more into this on YouTube. But I had to talk to Instagram here because I'm venting. I mean, this is terrible. Like, do you guys see what's happening here? Do you guys see that this guy is just not getting it? Like, they brought in Etienne. Etienne gets hurt. And, I mean, at this point, you should really, let me just hit send here. You should, honestly, literally start starting James Robinson. You got to let this guy run. You screw him with Etienne. He goes down. Now you're starting Hyde over him. Ridiculous. So, again, he is the workhorse guy. It is week 1. We're going to have to see what happens. And he had a good matchup, too, so I don't know what happened there. Okay, Carlos Hyde having 9 attempts, 7 points. And he had more attempts and he had less fantasy points. So Carlos Hyde had 7.8 points. James Robinson with less attempts with 8.4 points. Hyde averaging 4.9 yards per carry and 5. It doesn't matter. The point is, give Robinson more the ball more. Zeke Elliott, bad game as well. We know that, 5.9 points. Aaron Jones, how about that? How come no one's ripping the Chiefs on that? Aaron Jones, 4.2 points, only had 5 attempts. So Saquon Barkley as well, busted, okay? 10 attempts, and he busted, 3.7 points, PPR. Guys, it's week 1. Aaron Jones, Saquon Barkley, James Conner, Zeke Elliott, Najee Harris, James Robinson, Phillip Lindsay, people that have him, Derrick Henry, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Leonard Fournette, Austin Eckler, Antonio Gibson. Who else? All those guys underperformed. So, understand, guys, things are going to change. So, chill. It's week 1. But I gotta talk. So, the dart of the week, I got to go with Saquon Barkley. My guy, I'm embarrassed. I'm embarrassed with Saquon Barkley. But, hey, you know what? I'm not going to give it to him. You know why? Because people knew he might be limited. He had to get the first week out. So, a lot of people benched him. So, I'm going to say Zeke Elliott just sucked this week. 5.9 yards. Or Aaron Jones. Let's give it to Aaron Jones. 4.2 points. Aaron Jones, big bust. He's my bust of the week, okay? All right, so let me make a note of that here. So Aaron Jones. I'm going to put this on Instagram. Aaron Jones, my bust of the week. All right, here we go. At running back, that is. All right, moving on to wide receiver. This was crazy. Amari Cooper, number 1 there. Tyreek Hill. Deebo Samuel, big breakout. And I kept telling people Deebo's the one. But Ayuk. Let's take a look at the target distribution between those guys. Brandon Ayuk, Deebo Samuel. Guys, I'm telling you, Ayuk wasn't even on the field. I don't think he even played. I didn't even watch that game. So Ayuk, nothing. He didn't play. But Deebo Samuel, 12 targets, 9 receptions, 189 yards, and a touchdown. He had that big breakout run. I saw it. It was highlighted on the red zone, so I caught it. Good game. Is that going to continue? Who knows? Adam Thielen. Okay, again, it's week 1. I don't want to take any ownership for this, but got him in the 5th round, all my leagues, showing that he is the wide receiver 1 there, 30 points, okay? Corey Davis, I was Elijah Moore. Corey Davis having a good game, 7 targets, 5 receptions. DeAndre Hopkins, consistent as they come, crushed it, 26.3 points. Lockett, big points, 26 points. He had that big touchdown there. And again, it's week 1, so a lot of these numbers are inflated due to big touchdown runs like Deebo Samuel. Tyler Lockett had a big one, and it happens sometimes, okay? Tyreek Hill had that big, he has those explosive games that he has games where he does nothing. Christian Kirk had a good game. Sterling Shepard, Cooper Kupp finishing in the top 10. Antonio Brown, Chris Godwin, CeeDee Lamb having a good game. Now, CeeDee Lamb, I could be wrong about that as well. Now with Michael Gallup out 3 to 5 weeks, he's going to eat, okay? Jamar Chase having a big touchdown. Zach Pascal, 5 targets. He outperformed Pittman. Could be the wide receiver 1 right now. But again, that offense just trying to figure themselves out. Keenan Allen had a safe game, finishing 19th amongst wide receivers in fantasy points with 19 points. Ironically, Marvin Jones having 18 points, having 9 targets. Marvin Jones looking pretty good there. Chark also had a good game with 12 targets, which is pretty good, showing he is the wide receiver 1 as I anticipated. 17 points, 1 touchdown. Again, Chark having all those targets and Lawrence having that kind of mediocre bad game. All right, guys that busted. So those are the guys that did well. Again, your Adam Thielen, your Tyreek Hill, your Amari Coopers, your Tyler Lockett's, guys like that. Cooper Kupp even. Guys that crapped the bed here. And again, DJ Moore had a good game, 14.5 points. Let's load here. Devonte Adams. I mean, what happened there? Devonte Adams crapping the bed. 10.6 points. And I warned you guys, do not invest a first-round pick. But again, it's week 1. We can't talk. Calvin Ridley, a guy I was high on based on volume. I mean, Matt Ryan absolutely played like shit. It was a bad game. I mean, it was embarrassing to even have him on my bench. Very, very crappy performance by the Falcons. I'm really concerned about that offense in general. I don't know what they're going to do, but they got to pull their shit together. Terry McLaurin finishing 52nd amongst wide receivers. Again, Ridley finishing 54th, having a bad game. Allen Robinson, terrible, finishing 57th. Juju finishing 59th. Who else crapped the bed? Michael Pittman, again, he wasn't an early draft pick. Just trying to see here. AJ Green, an absolute non-factor. I stayed away from him. So Cortland Sutton having a terrible game as well, finishing 98th, and he was a fifth round pick, okay? So again, guys, it happens in week 1. Sometimes they don't get the volume. Mike Evans crapping the bed as well. He was, I think, a 3rd round pick. So man. Some of these guys just not getting it done. Like, again, I think the bust of the week is Devonte Adams, another guy I dodged. At wide receiver. Devonte Adams, I mean, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, we know when people come off pinnacle years, they'll crap the bed. What do you have? He had 56 yards, 7 targets, 5 receptions, no touchdowns. So 7 for 5, 7 targets, 5 receptions, nothing to get excited about. So Devonte Adams is the bust of the week. Moving on to tight end here. This is interesting here. Hawkinson, the guy recommended if you want him in the 3rd round pick, which is where he's going, had a good game, 25.7 points, finishing 2nd to Gronkowski, who was on my bench. It is what it is. I haven't been won my league on my bench. I'm going to start him next week. Travis Kelce finishing 3rd. Juwan Johnson, New Orleans, man, finishing 17 points. And then it falls off from there. Dallas Goedert, Noah Fant, Logan Thomas, Tyler Higbee, James O'Shaughnessy, and Pharaoh Brown rounding it up. But again, the top 10 guy only had 10 points. So if you get 10 points out of your guys, it'll be good. Bust of the week, I'd say, is George Kittle, 9.8 points, finishing 15th amongst tight ends. And this is a guy people drafted in the 2nd or 3rd round. So I'm going to say he is the bust of the week, okay? Who else is there? Robert Tunney had a bad week again. Packers had a bad week in general, 2.8 points. Just a disaster, guys, here at tight end. Kyle Pitts had a bad game, 7.1 points PPR. But again, a bad game for the Falcons. Falcons-Packers, very big disappointment week 1, okay? So that's it. Those are your studs and sucks. And I'm telling you guys, it is week 1. So let's talk about this. Again, a lot of people upset, a lot of people disappointed about Najee Harris, but I'm telling you guys, he got all of the snaps he's gonna eat. A lot of people disappointed about Derrick Henry. It happens, guys. A lot of people disappointed about Devonte Adams, not a guy I drafted. It happens. It is week 1. Things will align. If you put it this way, I don't see Joe Mixon beating, Derrick Henry and Zeke Elliott in fantasy points. I don't see CMC beating Najee Harris in fantasy points. Najee Harris will eat. I know you guys are saying it's crazy. I know, but it is week 1. Stars will align. Things will get better. Najee had a tough matchup versus the Bills. And the reason I'm saying Najee is because I'm heavily invested in him, but not one player is going to make or break your team. Najee crapped the bed, but Adam Thielen gave me a 30-point game. I'm okay with that. Like, my receivers were Deontay and Thielen, and my quarterback was Justin Herbert, and I'm okay. It is okay. Week 1 was rough. I lost in one league. We'll bounce back. We'll have a better week next week. And then in my other league, I need Josh Jacobs to have a good game. If he doesn't play, I think he was listed as questionable, then it is what it is. I'll find a backup. But at the end of the day, guys, stay strong. Be confident in your team, guys. It's week 1. The stars will be better. The stars will line. Any given Sunday, guys, okay? So stay strong, guys, and make sure you guys do subscribe to this channel. things will get better. If you had a bad week, if you had a good week, congratulations, okay? Maybe things will change for you. Maybe you have a bad week next week. There's a ton of games to go. If you guys are sitting at 0-7, okay, I'd be like, okay, let's panic. If you're 0-1, don't worry. Because again, so many people are so scared. And what the problem is there's recency bias. Everyone's like, oh, well, that guy had a bad game. He sucks for the rest of the season. It doesn't work like that, guys. Remember, Sammy Watkins a year or two ago had a breakout game and crapped the bed right after. Just trust the process. All right, guys? Everything will be okay. Subscribe, leave a thumbs up. We're going to get into week. We're going to do tomorrow. We're going to do waiver wires. So stay tuned for that. Subscribe and follow on all social media channels. All right, guys? I'm out. We'll talk soon.